Do you guys remember when you would stay up all night watching the sunrise at 6 in the morning because you were playing Slayer, custom games, or just trying to be legendary with your friends? Well, that's dead now, and we have someone to thank for it. Now, before I rip and tear into 343, I want to give some insight. Halo Reach was the last Halo game Bungie made for the series, and it was good. It was different from previous titles, like them introducing Sprint and other armor abilities, but overall it was fun. 343 had a lot of expectations from people for the future of Halo. And after Halo 4 and 5, you would think 343 would learn their lesson to make Halo Infinite into a game that Halo fans would enjoy. But no, they actually managed to put in less effort into this one than the previous titles. The campaign was built around Halo 5's campaign as a sequel, but after that campaign flopped and got horrible reviews, they had to rebuild it from the ground up, which takes time. That's why the campaign doesn't have any notable features. The map is bland with just green grass and trees everywhere you go. The open world feature is pointless. The missions are stale and feel repetitive. It's nothing like the old Halo campaign, where every mission has a different environment. And when are we ever going to get another iconic mission like this one? The missions are fun and replayable, memorable characters, and you could play co-op with your friends. I can't remember anyone from the campaign that made an impact to the story other than the monkey meme. Halo Infinite's campaign is a clear example of a rushed, unfinished project that was behind the deadline. Okay, a bad campaign, but the multiplayer was good, right? 343 couldn't even deliver basic features that older Halos had. Color and armor customization was awesome. They had so many different options to customize your Spartan, your helmet, your chest plate, your leg armor, even your visor could change different colors. And it was all unlockable by just playing the game. Now for stuff that was unlockable in Halo Reach, you have to pay for it. Like the Mark V helmet. This was one of my favorite helmets from Reach, but now it's stuck behind a paywall in Infinite. Infinite has cool armor sets too, but it's all marketed at such a high price that it's not even worth spending the money on, let alone playing the game enough to feel like you're getting your money's worth. I understand that microtransactions is how Infinite gets their money since it's free to play, but when you charge people for the same helmet that was free in 2010, it's a slap in the face to the players that put the time to unlock the helmet. You can't even play as an elite anymore. It was such a cool feature to be able to change species to an elite since they have different armor sets and have different assassinations from the Spartans. No form of XP progression other than the battle pass, no career stats, custom games doesn't work, not even theater mode worked. The list just keeps going on and on, but why couldn't they deliver on these features?
You know what? I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm fucking leaving!
Waves of employees kept leaving the studio as the game was being developed, and 343 had the genius idea of hiring contractors to work on the game. Spoiler alert, that is a terrible idea. After a person's contract expires, it leaves the new dev they hired to figure out and continue the previous person's work, leaving behind hours and maybe even weeks of work that could have been put into actually working on the game if they hired actual employees. What was their reason for this? Employee benefits. You want health insurance? Well, not here at 343, bozo. 343 was so unorganized that they had employees working on Halo sequels without even acknowledging the dumpster fire Infinite was. We hired people who hate Halo. The quote heard around the world. As a gaming company, you want people who are just as invested and passionate to the product you're working on. Having people who hate your game as developers makes them want to make the game in the way they vision it, rather than for the audience the game was made for. It creates a matter of personal preference as opposed to what the player base actually wants. How can a company just ignore any and all criticism about their game? No assassinations, which were a staple to Halo, no infection, no lobby chat, no region selection, no anti-cheat at launch on a free-to-play game, no report option. You can't even select a specific game mode you want to play. It's all just bundled up into one, and 343 try to make the excuse that the UI was the reason why they couldn't add more playlists to the game. It's so frustrating to see these AAA studios not deliver on bare minimum features and then make up an excuse to try and handle damage control. Like, who at 343 thought blaming the UI limitations was going to fly over people's heads? That was all when the game came out in 2021, but how is the game now? Getting the gameplay for this video, I actually found myself enjoying the game, but only on the Halo 3 maps playlist. That just goes to show that the base of Halo Infinite isn't bad, but everything around the game makes it worse. It's not as bad as when it first launched, but it still feels empty to play and not really worth my time. The game is still flooded with microtransactions, the damage was so brutal that the player count is still low. They do give you some stuff for free, but it's like opening a Christmas present expecting an Xbox and instead you get the X Game One. Halo Infinite had a good foundation but was built upon poor leadership, greed, and incompetent people who had their hands on a beloved franchise but sank the vessel and abandoned ship once the iceberg hit them. I have been waiting patiently for a good Halo game, and maybe with the changes in management at 343, it can be as good as we remember. But history tends to repeat itself, and if we ever see another trailer for a new Halo game, I don't think it will get the praise they think it will. Even if they release a video talking about what's going to be in the game, it's probably not going to be received well since we were already promised these things for Infinite and got punked instead. The future of Halo is looking grim. It managed to lose a majority of its fans with broken promises, excuses, and neglecting the community's feedback. They're slowly patching Infinite into the game it was supposed to be, but I'm not waiting any longer. After 14 years since a good Halo release, I don't have any more gas in the tank for this series. As a kid, Halo was at its peak and the most enjoyable. It was created by a team of passionate devs with a vision of success for the series. Infinite was created by pushing marketing into everybody's faces to make the game a success when it wasn't even out of beta. Growing up to an adult, I watched Halo fall from the top of the mountain it sat at. You no longer hear anyone ask which is better, Call of Duty or Halo anymore, because these games are not what they once were. They have been corrupted by lust for money in a world where passionate indie developers are creating better and more fun games to play at a fair price. I love Halo, and as sad as it is for me to say this, Halo is gone. The amount of time and work to bring back not only the game to its former glory, but also bringing back its fans and community to support it will take time. We won't see another Halo for a long time, and even when it does come out, I'm not going to get my hopes up again. I've already been beaten enough by 343 to ever see the light at the end of the tunnel for Halo. Goodbye, Halo.
Tell that to the Covenant.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Truth and the Covenant, the Flood, it's finished.
It's finished.
I'll drop a beacon, but it'll be a while before anyone finds us. Years, even. I'll miss you.
Wake me when you need me.